In early 1977, a series of random poisonings using Coca-Cola bottles occurred right in the heart of Tokyo and Osaka, terrifying the people of Japan. After 44 years, the identity of the perpetrator remains a mystery. Around 11:30 p.m. on January 3, 1977, a group of 6 employees had just finished a day's work at the Shinkansen buffet restaurant and were walking to Shinagawa Station, a 5-minute walk away, to return to their dormitory. While walking about 200 meters southward, crossing the Daiichi Kihin Avenue, a girl in the group accidentally noticed a 10-yen coin under a payphone booth in front of the Shinagawa Sportsland Ice Skating Center, now the Shinagawa Prince Hotel, in Minato Ward, Tokyo. The girl quickly picked up the coin, and upon pushing open the payphone booth door, she also found a 190 milliliters Coca-Cola bottle. Thinking that someone had accidentally left it behind, she picked it up and handed it to the youngest person in the group, Akira Higaki. It was known that Akira, aged 16, was a first-year student at Rakuto High School in Kyoto at the time. Thanks to his father, who worked as an employee at the Japanese National Railways, now Japan Railways, since December 30, 1976, he had been granted a part-time job serving at the company's cafeteria. After the group returned to the dormitory around 12:15 a.m. and finished bathing, some of them gathered on the second floor to drink beer. Later, Akira went to the cafeteria where he had stored the cola bottle, opened it, and drank from it. However, he immediately spat it out and rinsed his mouth because this Coca-Cola is spoiled. 5 minutes later, Akira collapsed, clutching his stomach, lying face down, and unconscious. The group immediately called an ambulance and took Akira to the nearby Shinagawa General Hospital for gastric lavage, but by 7:30 a.m. on the same day, he had passed away. According to the autopsy results, the victim's entire body turned pink, and symptoms of poisoning appeared. The unfinished Coca-Cola bottle that Akira drank from was sent to the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Laboratory. The result revealed the presence of sodium cyanide poison. Around 8:15 a.m. on January 4, on the sidewalk of Daiichi Kihin Avenue, about 600 meters north of the first crime scene's payphone booth, an office worker found a middle-aged man dressed as a laborer in an unconscious state and quickly called 110 to take him to the hospital, but he also did not survive. When the Tokyo police received the case, they initially could not identify the victim because there were no personal documents on him. The only belongings left were 25 yen in cash and a shoulder bag containing towels and beverages. Subsequently, they conducted an autopsy and found sodium cyanide poison inside the victim's body. The police continued to investigate the crime scene and discovered traces of Coca-Cola spit around the area where the victim died. 100 meters away, they also found a Coca-Cola bottle under an electric pole. The sweet liquid lingered in a phone booth 10 meters away from the crime scene. Between the electric pole and the phone booth, the police also found 2 dropped Coca-Cola caps. The Tokyo Police Department immediately mobilized forces from nearby stations to continue the investigation as they believed there were still poisonous Coca-Cola bottles scattered around. Through fingerprints, the victim's identity was determined to be Hiroshi Sugawara, 46 years old, from the city of Shimonoseki. During the war, Sugawara's family evacuated to Asa District, Yamaguchi Province. After finishing high school, he assisted his father in forestry work, but their relationship was strained due to his father's strictness. At the age of 30, Sugawara divorced and was arrested twice for theft but did not receive a prison sentence. He left his hometown afterwards and was arrested for fraud in Okayama but escaped. Nearly 13 years missing, on January 4, 1977, the family received the news of his death. Around 12:50 p.m. on the same day of January 4, the Shinagawa District Police discovered an intact Coca-Cola bottle placed on a red telephone booth in front of Nagatani Shoten store, Kita Shinagawa, 600 meters away from the first crime scene. After examination, it was also found to be contaminated with sodium cyanide poison. Fortunately, 2 women living at Nagatani Shoten store saw the poisoned Coca-Cola bottle but did not drink it. When one of them was asked to run an errand, the other noticed the Coca-Cola bottle outside the store. Feeling thirsty, the girl intended to take the bottle to drink later at home but noticed the liquid appeared lighter than usual. In a hurry, she left without touching the Coca-Cola bottle. 10 minutes later, the girl returned and learned about the poisoned water bottle from a police officer. Through analysis at the Tokyo Police Department laboratory, the toxic substance sodium cyanide was identified, listed in the Control of Poisonous and Hazardous Substances Act. Similar to potassium cyanide, its lethal dose ranges from 0.15 to 0.2 grams with very high toxicity, causing rapid death. This chemical is indispensable in metal refining, gold and silver plating, zinc plating, and there are many metal plating workshops from the crime scene around Shinagawa Station to Kawasaki and Yokohama. According to police analysis, all 3 crime scenes were within a radius of 300 meters from Shinagawa Station. Shinagawa Prince Hotel, opposite the first crime scene, and Pacific Hotel, opposite the second crime scene, both located along Daiichi Kihin Avenue, behind which is a high-end residential area. The third crime scene is near the coastline, where there is a densely populated residential area. According to local residents' testimony, the first Coca-Cola bottle may have been placed between 7:30 and 8:30 a.m. on January 3, the second bottle was placed in the early morning, and the third bottle was placed before noon on January 4 on a red telephone booth. Regarding the dosage of sodium cyanide in the 3 Coca-Cola bottles, most of the water in the first bottle had been consumed by the victim, so based on the remaining portion, the police estimated about 0.15 grams of poison. The second Coca-Cola bottle contained about 1.4 grams, roughly 10 times the minimum lethal dose. The poison amount in the third bottle, fortunately discovered by the police, contained 9 grams of poison, nearly 60 times the lethal dose. The clues to the case were scant. The police relied on the serial numbers on the bottle caps to investigate the time and place of production of these Coca-Cola bottles. In total, the investigative team seized 3 poisoned Coca-Cola bottles and 4 bottle caps, all bearing the letter T, indicating they were produced at the Toma factory of the Coca-Cola Company in Higashikurume, Tokyo. The first bottle cap had the serial number 709, meaning it was produced in October 1976, a year before the crime occurred. The 2 bottle caps at the second crime scene had the serial number 706, produced at the end of September 1976, and at the third crime scene was 702, produced at the end of August 1976. After production, the products would be stored in the warehouse for up to 2 weeks before being distributed, and retail locations would be instructed by Coca-Cola to sell them within 2 months. These clues ultimately did not help the investigative agency find the perpetrator, and the case reached a deadlock. An article speculating on the culprit of the series of Coca-Cola poisoning cases in the Asahi newspaper presented 2 arguments. First, the perpetrator may harbor societal resentment due to being looked down upon by others, so they plan to randomly poison people, choosing the timing of the new year to leave a strong personal mark. Second, the perpetrator accidentally obtained sodium cyanide poison and wanted to test its toxicity and use others as experiments. Sodium cyanide has many uses such as plating, printing, optical processing, cooling, rust removal for metal, pachinko polishing, pesticide production, paint production, so anyone working in those factories could have used this poison before. A month after the heart-wrenching series of cases in Tokyo, in Fujidera City, Osaka Province, it continued. Around 6:20 a.m. on February 13, 1977, a 39-year-old male driver of a confectionery transportation company was on his way back from work. Wanting to buy cigarettes, he stopped by a vending machine near a liquor store next to the company. He accidentally found a Coca-Cola bottle placed intact on it and another bottle on a public telephone booth 2 meters away. Eventually, the driver left and took the first bottle he saw. When he brought this Coca-Cola bottle to a distribution point of the company, his colleagues advised him not to drink it, but he insisted, "I'll take a sip, it should be fine." After drinking it, as he walked for a while, he felt nauseous. He went to an office chair to rest and said, "I feel numb in my hands and a strange chill in my body." His colleagues immediately called for an ambulance and took him to the hospital around 7:30 a.m. After receiving treatment, the driver regained consciousness. Later, he immediately informed 2 colleagues about the remaining Coca-Cola bottle found at the telephone booth near the company. They quickly went there and found the bottle still intact. Both Coca-Cola bottles were brought in for inspection at the Hanekino police station, but no poison was found. According to the investigating police, they were placed at 6 a.m., 20 minutes before the driver found them. While receiving treatment at the hospital, the driver was diagnosed with liver dysfunction and received fluid infusion 3 times, showing no signs of cyanide poisoning. Therefore, in fact, he was not a victim of the poisoning incident but perhaps just a prank. The driver was discharged on January 16, 3 days after the incident. At noon on January 17, the police went to his house to re-investigate the case, but no one answered the door. When they entered the house, they found that he had committed suicide by gas inhalation with his head covered tightly in a plastic bag. Although an ambulance was immediately dispatched, unfortunately, he had already passed away. Prior to this, he had told his wife that he felt ashamed because despite knowing about the incidents in Tokyo and being advised by his colleagues, he had advised his own child not to drink new Coca-Cola just a few days before, yet he drank it himself. This was considered the reason for his suicide. After a series of heartbreaking incidents, bottled Coca-Cola consumption plummeted rapidly and was replaced by aluminum cans with capacities of 250 milliliters or 350 milliliters because the can lids were difficult to return to their original state after opening. In addition, there was widespread propaganda to avoid picking up food on the streets in Japan. The random Coca-Cola poisoning murder case occurred in 1977, but the perpetrator was never found. After 15 years, on January 4, 1992, the case ended mysteriously as the statute of limitations expired. During a 17-month period in the mid-1980s, the people and police forces of Japan were haunted by a criminal known as the Monster with 21 Faces, or in Japanese, Kaijin Nijuichi Menso. This moniker was inspired by the famous detective novel, The Fiend with 20 Faces, by Edogawa Rampo, and it became one of Japan's most perplexing criminal cases in history. The bizarre saga of the Monster began in March 1984. Izaki Glico, a company famous for its Pocky snacks, found itself in the media spotlight for an unusual reason. On the night of March 18, 1984, Izaki Katsuhisa, the president of Glico, was abducted by 2 masked men who demanded a ransom of 1 billion yen, at the exchange rate of that time, along with 100 kilograms of gold. However, the ransom exchange failed when the victim managed to escape, sparking sensational media coverage. Despite this, the police found no leads to apprehend the perpetrators of this kidnapping for ransom. Several weeks later, in April 1984, cars parked in Glico's parking lot were set on fire, and the surrounding area was vandalized. The nightmare for Glico continued on April 16, 1984, when a container filled with hydrochloric acid was found inside a building at Glico's facility in Ibaraki, Osaka, the same city where Izaki had been held captive. On May 10, 1984, a threatening letter was discovered attached to a bottle of hydrochloric acid, signed by the monster with 21 faces. The letter claimed responsibility for lacing Glico's candies with potassium cyanide and distributing them to grocery stores across the country. This forced Glico to recall all its products from the market, resulting in a loss of $20 million and the dismissal of around 400 employees. The company suffered significant damage, and it was speculated that Glico had somehow provoked the monster to seek revenge. However, the terrifying ordeal for Glico abruptly ended on June 26, 1984, when the monster issued a statement, "We forgive Glico." But the criminal activities didn't cease. Instead, the monster shifted its focus to other targets, including Morinaga, Marudai ham, and house food. The modus operandi remained the same, sending anonymous threatening letters and contaminating candies placed on store shelves. In October 1984, a letter sent to media outlets in Osaka warned that about 20 packages of Morinaga candies had been poisoned. After receiving the letter, the police searched numerous stores across cities from Tokyo to Western Japan and found over a dozen poisoned Morinaga choco balls and angel pie, labeled with warnings, "Danger, contains poison." Fortunately, there were no fatalities in this case. Some time later, the monster demanded an end to its terror campaign in exchange for 50 million yen. The location for delivering the money was to be indicated by a white flag along the Meishin Highway leading into Kyoto. However, despite police efforts, the criminal remained elusive. In November 1984, the monster made a similar demand, but this time doubling the amount to 100 million yen, to be dropped into a container with a white cloth on the Meishin Highway. Despite a planned ambush by the police, the criminal evaded capture once again. In 1985, the police intensified their hunt for the monster with 21 faces. His likeness was plastered across newspapers and appeared on television, garnering widespread attention and curiosity from the public. However, by August 1985, after a prolonged investigation, the case remained unsolved, leading Shiga Prefecture Police Director Yamamoto to commit suicide. From then on, the monster with 21 faces disappeared without a trace, bringing an end to the nightmare for law enforcement and food companies. However, the lingering effects of his actions continued to haunt and baffle investigators. According to mocking and challenging messages sent to the police, it was believed that the monster was not an individual but a group of people acting in an organized manner, initially plotting revenge against Glico. During the investigation, the police seized a video showing an unidentified man allegedly tampering with candies on store shelves. What was particularly striking was his deliberate act of allowing himself to be captured on camera, seemingly mocking the police. Additionally, investigators received anonymous letters from the monster detailing the methods of their crimes, such as entering factories through the front gates, using a piano-reader typewriter, and obtaining plastic containers from roadside trash. Here's the translation of the story. Method 1: if you shout, "pomade," 3 times in a row, she will hesitate, giving you a chance to escape. Pomade, in Japanese, means hair waxed gel. Throwing or sprinkling pomade is also very effective, and even just writing the word on your hand and showing it to her is believed to be effective. The reason for this action is because of an unrelated rumor that she became disfigured like this due to a failed cosmetic surgery. The doctor who operated on her at the time was using hair wax, so just hearing this word will drive her mad and make her flee. Method 2: Kuchisake Onna is also said to have a fondness for Beko Ame, a type of hard candy. She becomes entranced upon seeing it, providing an opportunity for children to escape. Children often carry Beko Ame with them everywhere, so this is considered a useful way to escape her clutches. Other candies such as Kuroame, black sugar candy, or chewing gum also serve a similar purpose. Method 3. When asked, "Do I look beautiful?" don't respond too definitively like, yes or no. Instead, say something vague like, SOSO or, just average. This will momentarily confuse her and give the victim a chance to escape. According to the author Yamaguchi Bintaro, who wrote a book about modern monsters in 2007, he outlined the following confirmed methods to escape from Kuchisake Onna. Shout Niniku, Niniku, continuously. Niniku means garlic, although no explanation is given as to why she dislikes garlic. Shout Hage, Hage, meaning bald, but once again, no explanation is given as to why this is effective. Kuchisake Onna is also said to dislike dogs, so writing the kanji for dog on your hand, or saying, "There's a dog coming," will give you a chance to escape. For some unknown reason, Kuchisake Onna cannot pass the second floor of buildings, so climbing higher than this level will keep you safe. She won't pursue those who escape into cosmetics stores or recording studios. And the final interesting point, Kuchisake Onna will not attack individuals with blood type O. A good opportunity to check your blood type and see if you have a natural immunity. In 1979, this legend is said to have emerged around the city of Nagasaki, from where the rumors spread throughout Japan, causing psychological distress for many cities, sowing terror among the populace there. Schools even implemented plans for students to go home in small groups, under the supervision of guards, police, and teachers. Police patrols were also increased on all streets as soon as the sun went down. The climax came in October 2007, when a legal clerk found old notes related to the slit-mouthed woman from the 1970s about a woman who also used to chase after children. That person was hit by a car and died shortly thereafter, her mouth slit wide open to her ears. Kuchisake Onna inspired Shiraishi to create a horror film in Japan in 2007, attracting many audiences to experience the chilling nature of this legendary character. If you're walking home at night, and someone suddenly asks you, "Am I beautiful?" then run as fast as you can. The name, Kuchisake Onna, in Japanese translates to slit-mouthed woman. This name stems from the terrifying appearance of Kuchisake Onna, with her face bearing a long cut extending from the mouth to the ears. The legend of Kuchisake Onna is believed to be true in Japan. According to some versions, this chilling tale dates back to the Heian period. At that time, Kuchisake Onna was the wife of a noble samurai. This woman possessed captivating beauty but had an extremely arrogant, disdainful, and promiscuous personality. It was believed that she engaged in extramarital affairs and frequently cuckolded her husband. Learning of this, the samurai warrior was consumed by jealousy and rage, feeling ashamed of his wife's dishonorable actions, so he slashed her mouth from one ear to the other. As he did so, he exclaimed loudly, "Now will anyone praise your beauty?" After her death, the spirit of this wife became a vengeful ghost with a terrifying slit mouth, henceforth known as Kuchisake Onna. According to various accounts, Kuchisake Onna is depicted as a young woman in her 20s, standing about 155 centimeters tall. Some versions claim she is over 2 meters tall. Despite wearing a mask, Kuchisake Onna appears somewhat attractive with slightly slanted eyes and a voice resembling that of a cat. Kuchisake Onna is often depicted wearing a red coat, with a purpose as sinister as her appearance, to avoid standing out when splattered with the blood of her victims, thus allowing her to conceal the weapon she uses to attack her victims below the coat. There are stories of Kuchisake Onna wearing a white coat, but in most cases, it's a red coat. Over time, Kuchisake Onna has developed some regional variations. In the Edogawa ward of Tokyo, it is said that Kuchisake Onna carries a red umbrella for flying. In the Tamagawa area of Tokyo, Kuchisake Onna is depicted as slovenly and unkempt. In the cities of Hachiji and Kokubunji in Tokyo, Kuchisake Onna is known for wearing a kimono and sunglasses. In Okayama Prefecture, Kuchisake Onna carries a comb made of Japanese boxwood. Kuchisake Onna often carries her infamous slit-mouthed sickle to slash the mouths of her victims. In some versions of the story, this could be a razor or even an axe, but Kuchisake Onna is most famously associated with the sickle. Kuchisake Onna is also said to be incredibly fast. She can run 100 meters in just 3 seconds. The most common version of this legend begins with Kuchisake Onna approaching someone and asking them, "Am I beautiful?" Regardless of their answer, they are still slashed to death with the sickle. This is because the word beautiful, kirei, in Japanese is a homophone of cut, kaya. However, this is not the only approach she takes. In some other versions, Kuchisake Onna simply approaches someone on the street and eats them right there or takes them away. And another form of approach is when she touches someone's shoulder. If they turn around, she will strike at their throat. The only way to solve this is to turn in the opposite direction from the shoulder that was tapped. If she taps your left shoulder, you turn right. If she taps your right shoulder, you turn left. Only by doing so can you escape. If you happen to encounter Kuchisake Onna in a dark alley, there are surprisingly many ways you can escape her. Here's the translation of the story. Method 1. If you shout, "Pomade," 3 times in a row, she will hesitate, giving you a chance to escape. Pomade, in Japanese, means hair waxed gel. Throwing or sprinkling pomade is also very effective, and even just writing the word on your hand and showing it to her is believed to be effective. The reason for this action is because of an unrelated rumor that she became disfigured like this due to a failed cosmetic surgery. The doctor who operated on her at the time was using hair wax, so just hearing this word will drive her mad and make her flee. Method 2. Kuchisake Onna is also said to have a fondness for Beko Ame, a type of hard candy. She becomes entranced upon seeing it, providing an opportunity for children to escape. Children often carry Beko Ame with them everywhere, so this is considered a useful way to escape her clutches. Other candies such as Kuroame, black sugar candy, or chewing gum also serve a similar purpose. Method 3. When asked, "Do I look beautiful?" don't respond too definitively like, "yes" or "no." Instead, say something vague like, "SOSO" or "just average." This will momentarily confuse her and give the victim a chance to escape. According to the author Yamaguchi Bintaro, who wrote a book about modern monsters in 2007, he outlined the following confirmed methods to escape from Kuchisake Onna. Shout "Niniku, Niniku," continuously. Niniku means garlic, although no explanation is given as to why she dislikes garlic. Shout "Hage, Hage," meaning bald, but once again, no explanation is given as to why this is effective. Kuchisake Onna is also said to dislike dogs, so writing the kanji for dog on your hand, or saying, "There's a dog coming," will give you a chance to escape. For some unknown reason, Kuchisake Onna cannot pass the second floor of buildings, so climbing higher than this level will keep you safe. She won't pursue those who escape into cosmetic stores or recording studios. And the final interesting point, Kuchisake Onna will not attack individuals with blood type O. A good opportunity to check your blood type and see if you have a natural immunity. In 1979, this legend is said to have emerged around the city of Nagasaki, from where the rumors spread throughout Japan, causing psychological distress for many cities, sowing terror among the populace there. Schools even implemented plans for students to go home in small groups, under the supervision of guards, police, and teachers. Police patrols were also increased on all streets as soon as the sun went down. The climax came in October 2007, when a legal clerk found old notes related to the slit-mouthed woman from the 1970s about a woman who also used to chase after children. That person was hit by a car and died shortly thereafter, her mouth slit wide open to her ears. Kuchisake Onna inspired Shiraishi to create a horror film in Japan in 2007, attracting many audiences to experience the chilling nature of this legendary character. If you're walking home at night, and someone suddenly asks you, "Am I beautiful?" then run as fast as you can.